Okay, YouTube, I'm going to do the disassembly, the field strip, and reassembly of the M1 30 caliber carbine. I've already taken the liberty of loosening up the barrel band. It's just a simple screw here that you're going to loosen up. It'll go so far out actually and stop. And then you have the retaining spring you'll have to pull down. And the barrel band and the bayonet lug are completely one assembly, and you're going to push that forward. I can get it here. Just slide it on up out of the way. And you're going to take the upper foreguard off and lay it out of the way. Now here, when we get to this point, it's very simple. You're just going to pick the front of the barrel up and remove the stock and put it off to the side. From here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the trigger assembly. It's a simple pin right here. Just push the pin out. Sometimes it can be a little hard. We're going to pull this pin completely out. Sometimes on this one here it's a little tight. I don't know why. My buddy's pops right out. This one's a little tight. We're going to go ahead and spring, and the pin pops right out. Lay it off to the side. You don't want to lose any parts. Go ahead and pull this out. Now it's under a little bit of tension, so what you're going to want to do is just slide it back and pull the whole trigger assembly out. Place it off to the side. What we're going to do next is we're going to take your slide spring and we're going to remove it simply by just pushing in and pulling out. It comes out in one piece. Lay that off to the side. Now I find it easier. I've done this a couple of different ways. If you look at the field manual, which is the way we're going to do it, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take the slide off first. But I found it easier to actually go ahead and bring the bolt all the way back, but we're going to go ahead and do it the way the field booklet says to do it, which is pretty, it could be, you just got to get everything lined up and it'll come out pretty easily. But what you're going to want to do is you want to pull back and actually take the slide out of there it is, out of the rail. Once you got it out of the rail, the bolt's going to come. Go ahead and bring the bolt all the way back. Like I said, the field manual tells you to do it a different way. This I find the easiest way to do it. And now what you want to do is you're going to line up. There's a slot in the rail on the barrel, and you're going to line it up at the bottom of the slide. It's kind of hard for me to see right here. There it is. And it falls right out. Now what we're going to do here is I want to show you. On the back of the slide here, you're going to find a number imprinted there. On that number is actually the USGI stamp number. You'll also find a letter stamped on the back side and also inside, and that's going to be the manufacturer of the slide, which in this case is an Inland. Lay that off to the side. Now we're going to take the bolt out. What I like to do is I like to grab the bolt like this, but I'm going to turn the entire thing over and just slides right out. And that's it. It's as simple as that. This gun, the simplicity of this gun is amazing, and I can see why the guys in the field, I mean in 5 minutes you got this gun down, cleaned, and back together. Also, if you go to Bavarian M1 carbines.com, you're going to find the manual to field strip this rifle like I just did. You will also be able to download, go to their links section, and you will be able to find the manual to disassemble the bolt and also the trigger group. And I highly recommend you do that before you get in here and try to get into the sear and all that. But if you'd like to do that, and I understand why you would, because there's markings, you're going to need a light. And I'll tell you what else you're going to need. You're going to need a magnifying glass, because I tell you, I spoke to this gentleman and I looked this gun over with the naked eye and I couldn't find a few numbers here and there. When I got a light and I really started looking for numbers where he told me to look for numbers, I was shocked on how many numbers I got off of parts on this rifle here, and was able to halfway figure out what is what. And you could trace your rifle right back. There's so many different numbers. There was never any specific spot on the rifle where the government said stamp here, stamp a number there. So every manufacturer had his own way of doing things, and then when these rifles got distributed to other countries after the war, they marked numbers wherever they wanted. There's some on stock, some stocks have none. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But if you go to that website I'm telling you about, you could literally track your rifle and maybe find out where it went after the war. It's pretty neat. I'd like to know it. Anyway, let's go ahead and put this back together. And we're going to do it in the exact opposite way we took it apart. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put the bolt back in. That's simple enough. Just lay it in there. We're going to go ahead and put the slide back on. And you're going to want to line that. This could be a little tricky. You just got to line this little lip right there is going to line up with the little groove in your rail on the barrel right there. And it could be a little bit tricky to do. Like I said, I find it easier if you get the bolt all the way to the back. And we're going to go ahead and try to get this on here. And that's it, it's on. Pretty easy, right? Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to bring the slide all the way forward. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the spring back in. Hope you're seeing this. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to go ahead and put the trigger group back on. You know what you're going to do is it's got a little groove right here, and in the back you're actually going to put it past it and you're going to slide it into it. Just like so. Line the pin up. And this one's a little tight, like I said. My buddy's, it goes right in by hand. I just give it a slight, very gently, little tap, and it's in. And we're going to go ahead and put it back into the stock. The little recoil plate here has a groove, so when you put it back in, you're going to want to tilt it at a little bit of an angle. Make sure that they go in together, and it's in. Now the upper foreguard here, I've still yet to fix this. It's kind of just forced on there right now. I thought about the soldering, soldering that together, but I don't think that's going to hold. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. I'd probably just bring it up to a gunsmith and see if he can, do something with those rivets without destroying the wood. And I don't want to hurt the wood any. But for this purpose, we're just going to go ahead and put it back on. It should stay together, hopefully. We're going to go ahead and put the bayonet lug back on. It just slips completely on. And this one's a little tight too on here. I hope I don't get it out of the picture. Let me stand it up. I know you can't see it right now, but trust me when I tell you I'm putting it on. Give it a little tap. I have just to get it to lock. That's it. No marks on the end. It is back together fully. Go ahead, open it. Make sure everything works. Safe direction. Pull the trigger. Also wanted to show you, I was able to find front sight at a local gun show here in Fort Lauderdale. And for 15 bucks, I put it on. It took me literally 3 or 4 minutes to put this on. It fit right in. Perfect. And I just wanted to tell you guys about that. Also, I got a question from somebody asking me what Rem oil was. Rem oil is made by Remington. It's just Rem oil. You can find it in Walmart. There it is. One other little tip I want to give you guys. I used to watch my dad clean his pistols and his rifles, and he always had an O-ring, a little O-ring tool. And as I grew up, I always used it to clean mine too. You could wrap your little patches around there, and this, with the little twist on this thing, it gets into spots that a screwdriver or whatever can't get into. And I went to my buddy's gun shop, and I noticed he had one and was cleaning his rifle with it, and I told him, man, my dad used to do that, and I used the same thing. So I just thought I'd throw that out there as a tip. This little O-ring tool is amazing. It'll get into spots in a pistol and a rifle that you can never get into to clean, and you'd be surprised at the junk you get out of there. Anyway, I just wanted to do this quick one. This is actually the second video I did on this because I deleted the first one on accident. I'm smart, ain't I? But here it is, back together. And I hope you were able to see that. I hope the lighting was good. If not, let me know and we'll redo it. But I'd like to move on, and I think the next video I'm going to do, since we're doing World War II rifles here, I did this one, I might as well go ahead and do it. I have an M1 Garand also, and maybe we'll pull that one out and I'll show you a little something about the M1 Garand. I love that rifle, 30-06, and it's a lot more powerful than the M1 Carbine. Thank you, YouTube. Y'all have a great night. Talk to me, comments, PMs. I love them. Keep them coming. Thank you, guys. Good night.